So, Chiefs season for 2019, how did that end up going? Finished 7th overall, 7 wins, 2 draws, and 7 losses for the Chiefs. So, 7, I guess, is the theme there. Apologies, I'm not wearing my Chiefs cap. I can't find it. I've just had a quick search of the house. No dice. It's been kind of, I guess, in the equivalent of storage in a big pile of hats since the Super Rugby season ended. But yeah, I'll go over some of the good stuff, the bad stuff, how did their fixtures go, key players, and how the squad is looking for next year. And yeah, it's a very belated look, but it almost becomes like a preview rather than a review at this point. So, Chiefs were still the number one offloading team in Super Rugby. That theme kind of hasn't changed. That's going to be an interesting one to watch when Warren Gatland comes in as coach next year. That's kind of one of the big transfers for the Chiefs. Is that Gats is coming in, Colin Cooper's gone. I think they kind of paid him out basically to get Gatland back, even though he's only back for a year before he does the Lions tour, and then I guess we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, number one offloading team in 2019. Fewest yellow cards, no red cards, so penalties conceded was also pretty low. Discipline pretty good on that Chiefs team. However, those are the only things that I can really find that they are kind of leading the way or among the top teams. There's a few things that are middling, like run meters 6th, advantage line gain 8th, line break 6th, tackle busts 8th. So middling or kind of just above middling. Nothing that flash. Um, the the bad stuff, I guess. I mean, they're 13th for their lineouts, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means they didn't get the opportunity to throw the ball into their own lineout. But they were 10th in terms of their percentage at the lineout. So the 13th is how many lineouts they won per game on average. The 10th is their own lineout winning percentage, which is the bottom third. And 14th for winning the opposition lineout. So part of that is probably the injuries. The Chiefs' injuries things, I mean, DMAC, Retallick, it was just a raft of injuries throughout the season for the Chiefs. Again, they seem to have pretty rotten luck in that regard. But, yeah, the lineout was not a happy place. Yeah, 14th for winning the opposition lineout, 10th for winning their own lineout is not a strong point for the side. They were 4th for points conceded, which is shipping far too many points, but I guess they were 5th for points scored, so it kind of balances out. But still, you imagine the top teams have a big points difference in the black, whereas the Chiefs were kind of in the red. I think they were negative 14 across the season. Yeah, 2nd for run meters conceded, 3rd for advantage line conceded, 5th for penalties, 1 and 13th for conceded, I guess, is one of the good things. But goal kicking was 13th at 73%. So, yeah, there's a fair few things which didn't play out all that well. Like I mentioned, a fair bit was middling. And the result at the end of the season was, I guess, kind of a fair representation of that. In terms of individuals, Boshier, Nana, Saturo, and Weber all had 5 tries. So there wasn't that one guy who was the out-and-out try scorer. It was very much a team effort. ALB had a pretty good season. He was 3rd in Super Rugby for average runs, 4th in Super Rugby for average tackle busts, 3rd for average offloads per game. So that guy was kind of doing his thing all the time, which is what he does. Alamalo was 5th for average run meters. Sam Kane, he only played a handful of games towards the end of the season, but he was averaging a turnover a game, so he had a pretty good impact when he had last came back. So yeah, it would have been nice to have him for the whole season, but at least he was kind of back and fit at the end of the season anyway. In terms of the fixtures, go away. Word is trying to remind me to update something. They started with a loss to the Highlanders at home by 3 points, 30-27. And away loss to the Brumbies, 54-17, which is horrendous. And then a home loss to the Sunwolves, 30 points to 15. So it was about as bad a start as it gets. 4th game up on the back of 3 losses, you got the Crusaders away. That didn't end pretty. It was 57-28. And then they finally started to turn the corner when they got a draw with the Hurricanes. At home, 23-all. And then a win away to the Bulls. And the Bulls were in good form at that time as well, so that was a big upset. A win away to the Jaguares, who ended up making the finals. That actually looks pretty good. But then they did lose to the Lions, 23 17 at home. That was the one where the Lions had that kind of skullduggery with naming a different lineup and changing it at the last minute. Away loss to the Hurricanes, 47-19 is not pretty. A draw with the Highlanders, 31 all away. Dunedin's a tough place to go. And then an away loss to the Blues, 23-8. Again, kind of like the Highlanders. You don't want to be losing to the Blues, but it happened this year. But they finished the season strong enough to make the knockout stages, which was by no means guaranteed. Win over the Reds at home, 19-13. Win over the Crusaders in Fiji, 40 points to 27. That was technically a home game. And then an away win over the Rebels, and that one was like a straight shootout for who was going to make it, 59-8. So that was an emphatic win for them. So they just did enough, along with the Highlanders, to kind of get towards the playoffs at the end of the season. They did lose to the Jaguares in the quarterfinal over in Argentina, 21-16. So it's a real season of extremes. Like, you've got a home loss to the Sunwolves, which is, I don't want to say disgraceful, but it's pretty bad. 4-run losing stint at the start. The one of the Crusaders you can forgive. Bad result against the Highlanders away. Bad result against the Blues away. But then a massive win over the Crusaders. They smashed the Rebels, which, like I said, was kind of a straight shootout game. And they managed to get the win over the Bulls, who were, as I said, actually doing pretty well when the Chiefs were at kind of a low ebb. So, consistency is going to be one of the things Gatland needs to get sorted, but I guess having players who aren't injured is probably one of the keys to that. In terms of signings, the big names is Gatland coming in as coach and Cruden coming in. Whether Cruden plays 10 or is the backup for DMAC is going to be one. You'd think it's Cruden at 10 with DMAC at 15, but the All Blacks may have an influence on that, whether they want him playing 10 again. I guess we will wait and see. But they've lost a few guys. Colin Cooper, the coach, Mokiola, Debrasini, Marty McKenzie, Talani Siu, Jesse Parete, Brody Retallick. All these guys aren't going to be playing for the Chiefs next year, so they've had to bring in a few young guys. We'll see how that ends up working out for the Chiefs. But yeah, interesting season. Not quite as dominant as they have been in recent years. Kind of a bit more on the back foot, struggling a bit. But again, I do put a fair bit of that down to the injuries. So we'll see how they go under Gatland. It's going to be a fascinating change to see how that shifts up. He'll be wanting them to be a playoff team for sure. So we'll see if they can make it. You guys let me know your thoughts. The squad is out, so have a look on the Chiefs Twitter page or whatever if you want to check out the current Chiefs squad for the 2020 season. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.